Definitely going to be traveling around the world very soon. Malaysia might be one of the places I'll come to. I want to go to China and India first. Those are the two places I want to see first. Okay, we're live on YouTube. I'll close this. So, welcome to all our YouTube viewers. How many people we have on YouTube, by the way? So, sorry for being late on YouTube. We were here like 10 minutes early, but I was answering a question to some of my to one of the traders here who asked a question about a book and showing him some of the complexity of the patterns. I'm sorry YouTube missed that. But if you don't want to miss anything we do when we have the weekly, join through the Zoom link. That way you wouldn't miss anything, right? You're going to get everything, including the Q&A sometime when we stop the YouTube live. So if you want to get all of that, would be good to join. The link is always on my Facebook page. I tweet the link out and I put it on LinkedIn. So anywhere you follow me in social site, you'll get it. You don't have a problem finding me. Just Google my name and you will find me. And for those of you, if you give me one more minute, for those of you who are already signing up for the course and asking for it, don't send me the message on Facebook. I got a lot of messages on Facebook asking about the course coming up at the end of this month, right? And a lot of queries. If you were interested in that, Skype me. It's MANGAL457. I'll give everybody a couple seconds to write that down. Just send me a Skype message. Say you're interested in the course. Or just add me to Skype and I will send you the details. Right? We don't want to use up time much discussing the details of the course here. Two things I can tell you. You're paying for the course, but once you complete the course, you get complimentary lifetime access to our group, which means you stay with us until you learn to trade and make money and become profitable and are able to help somebody else within the group, because everybody in the group stays on and helps somebody else, right? There are people who will just take the course and move on because they have different plans. That's okay. But if you really want to become one of those very good traders, you'll probably stay on with us, right? So with that, we'll move on. Let's go. So I specifically had this one on because I had one that was very interesting. This is a nice one also. So, but let's go through all of it. Let's start with the. It's pretty huge. It's a couple hundred people, and you're always having about 30, 40 people in the trading room, which works 24/7. So during the weekends, the guys will go into the trading room and discuss trades if they have time. So we keep it open all the time. Anyway, let's go. So dollar index, remember we were saying it is going to go up. They did break this correction. If you're looking for a buy, you got that. You should get out of it. And now they're going down. So the question is, can we look at this as a flat? And I'm not looking at that as a flat as yet. There's a specific reason for that. We will tell you why. We can't prove it's a flat as yet, right? Because we don't know. But if this one, you notice this has a three-wave pattern inside. This has a three-wave pattern. If this one starts to really come up aggressive, then we'll consider. This does not have that pattern. So I don't think this is the downside. I think this is probably going to make a correction within this zone, within somewhere in here, probably a pullback here, one there, and we will continue to go up some more. So what I'm looking for this week in the dollar index, it's mostly sideways. This, if you get a small correction here, you might get one more down. I don't think they will break the low. But most likely you might get a very deep correction back to the top, almost back to the top, and then you will get the next impulse down. So if I put that in a 1 hour, this is what it should look like. You should expect some upside. I think we will expect some upside here. I don't think it's going to take off. It might be more of a correction. They might get one more down, and then you will see continuation. So this week, I'm expecting it to stay sideways. Can they go a little more down? Yes. If you get any sell set up here, you would have to take it as a short-term trade, right? You would have to take that as a short-term trade. This is not an educational webinar. This is a webinar update on the chart for trade setups. As to how to differentiate between impulse and correction, you will have to take the course to know that. Not something I can do in one of these webinars, right? So this is for people who already are experienced in trading and wants to, to see my views on where the chart is going to go next week or what it's likely going to do. So this is what we're looking for. Look for sideways. I don't think they're going to go far. On the euro, the same thing, right? We broke out. We made this move. Last week, you were looking for downside after this correction. You got that. We're looking for upside. Remember, this is still the top. We're not expecting. Last week, we said it's going to go down. If you were following this pattern, I think most of you know that already. You know it was going to break. So the break of that is setting us up. I don't think this is a total upside. Same pattern here in the daily. You have a sideways move. I just don't think it's over. right? You can see that sideways. I don't think it's over as yet. We don't have enough reasons. But two things you would look for this week, and you would watch this pattern here. If they just start to make a shallow correction here, and they will make a correction, that's a fact, you will look for a buy setup, right? Wait for the correction, then look for the buy setup. And I don't mean a small one. I mean a very big correction, something like this, which will take a couple days. If you try to buy here, you're going to get yourself in trouble. If they go deeper in that, if this might be an impulse that is going to be bigger, but if this thing comes back deeper here and go back there, we're going to go down very big time. So which of those two corrections we're going to get? Well, we just have to wait and see because we don't know. And there is no way to know that, because if this is your first impulse up, we will get a deep correction. If this is some part of a more complex correction, we'll get a shallow impulse, shallow correction, then the impulse. So you can look for buys in the long term back to the top if the correction is shallow. If it's deep, you look for a short-term buy, take your profit and get out. Can you trade the correction itself? On a 60 minutes, I think you can. Those of you who have experience to do that, you can trade it in the 60 minutes, which means if you get a sell setup here, and you understand what it's likely going to do, you might be able to stay with that trade for a while. The worst case is you're going to get a very small profit or a break even before they go back up. If this becomes a very shallow correction, you'll get a break even and then you look for the upside. Now, this is easier said than done. I can tell you that because traders even in my group are struggling a little with that. When do you move that to the break even for the for the next move if it's going to make an impulse up, if the correction is going to be shallow? So if you don't have the experience and you haven't tested something very much, don't do this. Wait for the correction to finish, wait for the breakout and take the breakout trade. Don't try to sell the correction. People who sell the correction, people with more experience and who can afford to handle a loss in their account. Right? So when this is happening, the best thing, if you're new in trading, if you're just learning to trade, just watch it. Learn something and then wait for the trade to break out. Bang. Absolutely going down, and it did exactly what we thought it's going to do, making one of those patterns that could be a leading diagonal. We spoke of this last week in my webinar, and so we were expecting downside. I don't think they're going to break out of the pattern. I think you would remember that very clearly, and they did. They broke the low. So now, good question. We broke the low. This could be a leading diagonal, or it could just be a big correction, right? Both right now, those two patterns have very, very similar qualities and looks, right? The same rules for them on how they can form. If you're making a leading diagonal, it's very, very similar to if you're making a WXY in this way, right? If this is a W and this is an X wave and this is a Y, it's going to be similar in its looks. It's sometimes very hard to differentiate. Right now, it looks to me more like a leading diagonal, but we would be able to tell which is it. Depends on what happens here. And I think right now they're making a correction here. This correction could come out of the structure. If it's a correction, it could come out of the structure. And that will not mean upside, because if this is a corrected structure coming out of the structure, it will actually mean a very sharp move to the downside. If it comes out of the structure as an impulse, that would mean upside, but we are not starting an impulse here. And that is giving me a clue as it stands right now that they may be making a correction to the upside. You could come back here, make another one there, and then go, which means you get something like this here. What would that correction look like? It's not small, it's going to be big. And it might take a number of variations, but we're looking for corrections and sell. The question is this last impulse over? That's a question you'd ask. How would you know? I don't know. Maybe they can break money and go like that and then start the bigger correction. So if you get a sell set up here, you take the sell, put it to break even, and wait to see what happens. It's either going to drop more and then you get an upside, you get profit, or you get a break even out of that trade. The worst case is you should get a break even out of that. Sometimes this last impulse, which starts from here, could go on for a long time. It could be very extended. The very last impulse and then the 5-wave impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if we're making an impulsive move, will come very deep before they make the bigger correction and then drop. Right? Yes, if it's a correction that would confirm the leading diagonal. You see, you guys are getting the substance, right? You're getting the whole thing. It's the theory itself is not difficult for you to get, right? The problem will be, can you identify which one it is making when it starts to go? That is the difficult part for traders. It's not that they can't see the patterns. They can see it, they just can't identify which part belongs to which and what pattern they're making. You can see it's making a pattern, but you have no clue what it's doing, right? So if you can develop that to understand what it's doing, then great. That's what we help you to do, right? So on a 1 hour, watch this piece. You're getting some upside, but like I said, do you want to buy the upside? Remember, we weren't buying the pong here. I think you clearly remember saying, I'm not interested in buying the pong to the upside. The same thing, I'm not interested in this. This pattern would have to convincingly show me that it's not making a correction. It's an impulse to the upside before I get involved in the buy. That may be outside of this structure when I'm very sure of it, right? Right? So it is, if we can get these trades, the upside, it's not very, my traders got a little bit of that, but, they come back very fast. You have to get out for positive because you end up taking a loss, and sometimes if you're not sure what it's going to do. So watch this, and we're going to get one more down. Aussie, you can go for a buy. And there's a reason you can go for a buy in this Aussie, because Aussie might break out. Right? Aussie could come some more to this one, and I think they might do that. They might come here after. They will definitely make that one first. So you will take that trade. That's a nice small trade. Put that to break even. If they break out of this, you'll retest this top here. And you can retest that top. So let me show you that structure in a daily. See that? Now, I don't think they will retest this top here, but I think we might retest this top. So I can see this move breaking out, doing something like this, and then going like that. Right? So I can see them breaking out of this here and then dropping to the bottom here. So you may want to look for a short-term buy. Remember, the short-term buy is inside of this. Let's go back one step backward. 4 hour. That is the short-term buy that will trigger the trade for you, this one. But they may come out of this pattern, do something like this, and then start the downside. So if they start to go up, you will have to move your stops, because I don't know which point they will turn, but I believe they will turn it up because I'll be looking for a bigger correction in here. See? So let's see. I'll be looking for a buy. So if there's anything you really want to get in a buy in Monday, the Aussie will be the best one. Right? I don't see this going down more very aggressive, but I mean, as long as it doesn't break this and you're in a buy, you just have to manage your buy. If they do this and start to come down, well, you get out of the buy and you look for this sell, right? Why this sell might happen? Well, if this is all the correction, but I still think that's not all the correction. We're looking for more correction. Let's see if we're correct about that, right? New Zealand came down here, so we've got 1, 2, 3. Now we have a problem. What is it going to do? Will they go retest the top? Remember, we were looking last week that they're going to make more correction. This will not be all the correction. Now, I don't think even this is all the correction. So I'm not expecting this one to go up aggressively. I think this one is going to come here. We might get a retest of this area, maybe breaking it even, before we get that trade up. And there is a reason. The reason we are thinking this is because of the way this pattern is developing right now. Right? We will know exactly about that once this trade happens. So you will be looking for a buy. Let's go to the 4 hour. And let's go to the 1 hour. You're getting some consolidation here. Now, will they retest this low first? There's a possibility of that because we didn't break the low. Now, they don't have to break the low, but we are always expecting them to do that. So I say ignore this trade. If it happens, it happens. You look for the reversal and then the buy. Or if they make a consolidation here, which means they will not test the low, they'll just make a consolidation here and go up, then you look for the buy setup. This is the trade you want. All the way to the top and watch to see whether they're breaking out. At this point, you can move your stops at the profit. So if they start to go down back to retest the low and break the low, you'll be okay with it. You wouldn't have to worry much about that. Right? So we're in a sideways move. Then you can see look for upside. The downside will be limited. CAD, amazing, right? Remember what we said which way CAD should go? Come back, test this top, because we're looking at this pattern and I was very convinced that this cannot be all the correction. We're telling you we're not convinced that that is all the correction, that this one, although it's going down, will go back up to retest that top. I'll go back 3 weeks or 4 weeks of my webinar. You can count from the time this one starts to come down. Go back to any of the webinars and you will see we keep insisting that, guys, no matter this is going down, we don't think we'll break the low. We'll go back, test the top, and then go down, right? With an expanding flat in the middle. See? So you guys are grabbing the concept. Very good. I'm happy about that. So watch it now. When we break that top, that is where the question comes in. And this is what a lot of traders have been asking me. Is this the pattern? Are we going up now? Or is this the pattern and we coming down? Make your choice. I would go for the downside. There's a reason why we're expecting it to continue to go down more, right? You don't have to, literally in terms of trading, you don't even have to be right about the direction in that one. You just have to wait for either way of the setup and then take the trade. You would not take the trade either way without a setup. Right now, we're in a buy. If you're one of my traders, you should be looking for a buy. I do think they can make one more to the top. Or did we break the top? No, I think we're about to break that top. So they would likely break that top. And then look for a sell. If you're right about this, that sell will go down there. So if you're in a buy, you have to move your stops. If you're right about it, they may, I don't know if they tagged the top already. We'll have to check on a few platforms. Like some platforms show they tag and some show they don't. So what you're going to look for is you're going to look for a sell setup. Even if they go a little more up, ignore that, right? They're most likely going to go down. Now, when you go in the sell, if they don't go as impulsive as this one is going now, what they will likely do, they'll start doing something like this. That's okay. You can put the break even and then look for a buy setup. But if they do go down, and I think they will go down, that's your trade. So on a 1 hour, what you're looking for, you're expecting this here. We were expecting this to break, go down a little more, then go back up. Well, it's good for us that they do this because they didn't give us a break, and now we can look for this, and then we look for the drop. When they do that, you look for that trade. So the trade you should look for in the CAD this week is likely the downside. It's going up. It might even go up some more. They may even spike it if there's a news event. They could spike this up and then start reversing it. That's a possibility. If you want to take this trade in the news event for the upside, you would have to be very, very, very careful. The risk is they may come back within a minute and you will have a huge wick at the top here and then they'll fall. You'll see it watching going on, take you out, and you wonder what happened, right? So the upside becomes very risky as it stands right now. You would wait for a daily correction before you buy. So we would look to sell the daily correction or sell the daily impulse to the downside. One of the two we're looking for a sell setup. Swiss, we broke out. We were looking for more upside. Come back to this area. We got more upside. You had a nice trade there. They're falling, well, not falling. They're moving down. And I don't think this is the move to the downside big time. CAD definitely could go down. Swiss, not necessarily. As a matter of fact, CAD is the only one that will be doing something that no other pair will be doing. We're looking for possible corrections on Euro. We're looking for possible corrections on Pound, corrections on Aussie, maybe a little up on Aussie. We're looking for New Zealand to probably go up some more, right? CAD might be the fastest one to the downside, right? CAD might be the fastest one to the downside. Whereas Swiss to the downside is a correction. Traders will learn very slowly. Don't worry. They will learn very slowly. I don't worry about the news anymore. But traders still insist that they use the news event to move the market, not necessarily even in the direction of the news. They just use that time to move the market. They know where the market was going to go even before the news comes out. Most times they're the maker of the news. The people who can move the market are the people who actually makes the news or who knows what the news is going to be. So don't worry much about the news. So let's go. Watch this here. We're going to probably make a correction, drop some more, and then continue to go up. I don't think they're going to break that low. Well, if they make this and you think they're going to break the low, you can look for that short-term sell. That should be a nice one, just like the short-term buy in the euro, right? They give, yes, very similar. This is very similar to what I think the DAX will do. The only thing you would want to look for is if you're looking for a short-term sell, the one you may want to go with a short-term sell is the CAD, not this one. We're not forecasting this to go down deep, but we're forecasting the CAD to fall very much. So if you're looking for a short-term trade, the best one to probably go with would be this one, right? So let's see how this plays out, and then we go. I see what you're saying, but I don't think that's a running flat, Alexander. Yen is going down again, and some people are already freaking out, and nothing has changed, right? They did break this low again because we were expecting. Remember, I said wait for a correction here. If you're already in the trade, move that to break even and wait for a correction here. Well, this went down a little lower. That's okay. They can come back here, make another flat, and drop again once more. They can come back here, make another flat, and drop against one more. That does not change this trade, right? That trade to the upside does not change. This thing is not going down. It's not falling. It's just crawling down slowly, pushing up. You can take break even if you want again. If you were in that trade, that should be break even for you, right? You might get a number of smaller waves here. That's okay. Don't lose sight of this one. Let me repeat it again. Don't lose sight of that one. And I would bring up the example again if needs be, that you remember that they can do this, create an emotion in the market. They're not really creating an emotion. They're actually looking for orders. Where are the orders? So the market moved towards those orders. If you don't know what I mean by that, look at the video that I put out, the very last one I did that is a wave analysis video, how to understand wave analysis. If you look at that video, you'll understand what I'm saying by that. Market move towards where the orders are. If there is no order, market cannot trade. There is no market. If there is no order, there is no market. If nobody wants to buy anything, even if you want to sell it, you cannot sell it. For there to be a market, you have to have a buyer and a seller, which means for any transaction to happen, you have to have two sides of the market. So the market will move towards where the other side is to get the transaction. If somebody wants to buy or somebody wants to sell or somebody is pushing the market in a direction, they have to push it as far as they can find those transactions before they decide they're going to go in the opposite direction. So if you understand the psychology of how the market moves, you would understand that it's not manipulation. It's not anybody trying to get your stop. It's not that they're not trying to make a pattern or whatever. They're just doing business, finding where those orders are. If you're going to go up, if yen is going to get weak in this sense, I think one guy was a little confused when we look at the chart. When I said up, he thought I said mean yen is going to get strong. If yen is going to get weak, we're looking at this chart. We're talking about a particular chart. So up means yen is going to, if yen is going to go weak, you want to get rid of the yen if you have a huge stock of yen with you. And you know it's going to get weak. So you want to find orders at the bottom here where you can get rid of your yen, sell out your yen at a higher price. Right? The yen will lose value. You want to get rid of it at the bottom. So when it goes back up, and by bottom, I mean the chart again, because I'm talking about the chart. So don't go make stupid comments that why it means if you're selling it high at the bottom, right? Talk about the chart. You want to get rid of it here so that you can allow it to go up there and make profit. So a little more downside, no big deal. Don't freak out. You want to trade it, it's risky. You can try to trade that if you want to trade it. It's very risky to trade. We saw a trade setup. Remember, I showed you this one, at least in our group, we saw that. And I said, guys, if you're taking this trade, put it to break even very fast because it might not break the low. They did break the low. They're going again. Can they go back up? Yes. Any one of you see a possible pattern they can do? They can come here and go back down. You see the possibility for that flat in there? So you're looking for a buy setup. When they break this top, you can do two things. Take your profit and wait to see what it's going to do, or look for a sell setup, or put it to break even. Because not necessary that they will make that flat. They could just take off. But there's a chance they could go back down. I think we'll likely see a flat here, and they're going to go one more down, break the low again, and then go back up. Right? So you will watch it when it comes to this stop, because they would likely go up there, and they may go up there very impulsive. Right? There is no missing puzzle in my trading analysis. Fundamentals is not a missing puzzle. What is missing with you is you're confusing yourself that you somehow think you knows what the fundamentals mean. And we're not even going to go into discussion with that because I'm pretty sure you have very little knowledge of that. You watch TV and you think what they're telling you there makes sense to you. What they're telling you is there is a show. You know who knows a lot about that? Ask the people who are inside of that. They will tell you. What they're telling you is something to keep you satisfied. The whole problem of TV is to keep you satisfied. They have no clue. Let me repeat so that you can go and talk it because it's controversial. They have no clue what the market will do. Most of them who are TV talk heads. You watch Bloomberg and CNBC, they have no clue. Absolutely no clue. The people who do have clues of what the market is going to do and what the news will be, you don't see them on TV. The people who can move the market, they don't tell you what they are going to do. So if you're going to listen to that, then you have a missing something in what you're trading. Wish you good luck on that. I don't have anything missing in my analysis. It's pretty good and it's working really good. So just remember that. It's good for you. Okay, let's move on. Let's just ignore that. XAG. Going sideways, we expect this to go. Watch it. They're going to probably come back here. This would be your trade. Remember I said if they break this low, you want to look for buys because it's a big sideways move actually. Let me just show you this. It was in a sell. This sell was going. It's not going very aggressive. We're expecting them to make a correction like this and then drop. So we can still see this come back here. We will see it go back there and then we will look for this big move, which means you can put buy orders at this level. You can already put buy orders in that level. If you want to trade this long term, put some buy orders there. And if you understand how to trade this, you don't have to use a stop on it. The last time I talked about trading this and don't put a stop, but people were going crazy. I think all of you remember where that was. Most of you might not even have been with me then. It was right in here. I don't know how many of you here were there when I said I draw those three lines and I said put your buy orders in there and put no stop. Right? Remember that? I don't know how many of you remember that. It was on a chart, I think maybe in a 4-hour chart or something when I put it. I said those are the buy areas. And I'll repeat that. Nothing is missing in these analyses. If you're following it, you are buying it there. Somewhere here, you'll probably find a chart. It's on TradingView. You can go and look at it, right? That chart is on TradingView, so you should find it in there. When I was drawing this buy zone, it's a buy zone. We're coming back into that buy zone. Why is that a buy zone? Well, there isn't a lot of analysis in that. There's a lot of common sense in that, right? The analysis is there, but you just need to look at the common sense. It's there. That's a buy zone. Well, we are coming back into a buy zone right in here. And you should buy if you want to go. Now, how long they'll take to get there? Maybe a while, because I can see this coming here and then going there. Would you want the sell? Yes, you can do that. Do you want this buy? Yes, you should take it. You should take the buy up. You should take the sell down. Why you want to take the buy up? If that's a contracting flat, you'll miss the entire move to the upside. Do we know it's a contracting flat? No, we don't. That's something you will never know. So go for the buy. Can this thing come down one? You don't have a buy set up right now, by the way. Can this thing do this and come back? Wait for the breakout. Can this do this and come back one more down? Well, if they come one more down like this, start looking for the buy. That drop might go straight into this area here, and then you start looking for your buys. You probably don't want to interfere with the sells on silver at this low. Anything below 16 in the area of in the range of 16, you don't want to be selling silver, because you could be caught with your pants down. This thing could really take off from any of this area and you'll be in big trouble. So you really, really want to be a buyer in this area. TradingView deleted all my charts. Seriously? I never saw it. I don't look at TradingView anymore. They deleted all my charts. I wouldn't believe they would do that. The charts are still there. They're not supposed to delete them, but it doesn't matter. But that would be amazing if it does. XAU. We're in gold. We're in this sideways move. and you probably will get this trade back up. They broke the low. You were selling last week to the break of the low. Watch for a correction here, and then you can trade this back to actually retest the top. We will still go down in the long term. This is a short-term trade up, right? This is a short-term trade up. So look for that one. That's a nice possibility that could come. Euro Aus. Last week we were saying this is a consolidation and they'll probably just go down slowly here before they go. Well, they went a little earlier, broke the top. If you didn't get a buy, don't worry. I don't think it's a long-term buy because we're going to start looking for sell setups, which means on the 1 hour, you can start looking for sell setups. They're coming down. Allow it to come back here now. Make a flag, and then you can start to look for the sell setups, right? I don't think they're going to go very much more because on all time frame, that structure is about to end, right? Maybe if they go, if you get a little correction in here, if you see them instead of going down, we make a little correction here that is looking more like this. Well, by next week we'll look for the upside. That'll probably take a week, but I think within the week we're going to be looking for mostly downside and possible very sharp move down, right? Good. I doubt they will delete it. They can. I don't think they're that bad. Let's put it that way. So this one I told you to stay out last week because it wasn't clear. We were expecting it to go up, but I said stay out because it wasn't going up aggressively. This might still go tag the stop, and then we will start to look for sell setups. I don't think they're going to come tag that top now. This might be more like something like this, come back here and they're going to stay a long time. That you probably, if you don't have a lot of experience, stay out of this one too. We're making an up move right now. So what you can do is probably you wouldn't get any trade for the next couple of days. But if they do this, take the next trade up, right? If you get a correction down here, leave it there and then look for the next trade up. If they fall very sharp, well, you know what to do. Wait for this flag and then sell, right? So you wouldn't have a trade here for the next couple of days. EuroCAD was a surprise to us, right? I didn't think they were going to break out of that structure. We were not selling it, then we're not buying it. We're looking for sells on the break. If you were selling it, you got it for breaking because it was going up. We're looking for them to bounce off the top, make a flag, and then they didn't. They actually broke out. That did not change the structure. Let me show you that again. And I specifically showed this to some of my traders who were freaking out. See this one? See what they did? You see that take off? You don't want to miss it. See the similarity of those two moves? Well, you'll say, well, what happened? They broke out of that. Well, let me show you one that they actually broke out. See what happened? They did break out of this one. See that? Which direction did it go? This was the clue. Ignore the breakout. This was the clue that they were going to go up. That's what chart pattern is about. Understanding where they're going to go. The mere fact that they jerk and it's like a knee jerk and that thing just goes down right down to the bottom there, don't worry. You got a better trade. And if you understand what I'm talking about, here is your trade. You got a better entry. Not here, but from here. So what should you look for here? Ignore the breakout. Don't even try to buy it. Let them do this. And you take that one. If you want to see the internal structures of EuroCAD and understand why they're doing that and how they're doing that and how you're going to capitalize on this, there's a way to do that. At the start of the webinar, remember I posted Skype there, James? Just Skype me and you will have all the information how you can learn to do that and recognize it. So watch this here. This thing can go down anytime. You've got to be careful of the buys, right? Even if it goes up, ignore it because by all patterns that we've seen, it's dangerous to get on the buy anything else. If something else, if it's the euro going up, buy the euro pairs. If it's the CAD going up, buy any other CAD pairs. Don't buy the euro CAD. Let it go if it's going up because you're going to get yourself in trouble. Look for the sell opportunities in the euro CAD. right? Sometimes you can be wrong, but you need to ignore this and let it go. Because if you try to prove you're right and buy it, you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. We know because we've seen those patterns, how they behave. You'll be in the right side if you buy it. You'll be in the right side if you sell it. If you get the sell setup, wait for the setup. Euro Swiss was one of them, remember? And it keep pushing up a lot. I was just showing somebody, we thought from here they'll go down, and they keep pushing up, pushing up, pushing. You want to buy in that? Good luck. But look what their trade is. That's your trade. Now we will wait for it to go back here, and we'll look for this trade. See this piece here? You look for that trade. See, they're going to make something like that here now. You look for this trade. It's not that difficult. 4 hour. Expect it to go up some more. We saw this last week, and we told you that they're going to come down here and go back up. They're going up 1 hour. Can you even get a buy in that? Maybe, but should you take the buy? Right, this could come back right here and go back up there, making this pattern here. Should you take that buy? That's the question most traders, and that is where traders lose money. I will not take it. Even if it has to spike 400 pips up, I would not buy this pattern anytime I see it. Because all that pattern needs to do is break this top. And once they break that top, there is enough reason for it to fall. Every time I've seen a pattern like that, most times they break the top and they fall. That would be 80% of the time they will break the top and fall. Once in a while, they'll make a very deep spike. And traders who traded got lucky and said, I don't know what he's talking about. I took it. I got 200 pips. Great. And then what happens? When he took the next 88 of them, only 2 of them are going to be winning. 8 out of 10 will be losing. And then he learned his lesson. Darn. I don't know what happened with these patterns. The last time I took it, it worked. This time it's not working. It's nothing about the patterns. It's about how you're looking at it. So be careful. They can do this and then come down. I can actually show you a few of them that they did that. But would you bet on that if you know 2 times out of 10 you will win and 8 out of 10 you would lose? Would you take that trade? That is the question. You are playing on the luck? Well, go ahead. Give it a try. If you're very good at it, if you're very good at moving your stop in time and getting out of the trade, it might be worth taking, especially if there's a news event coming that could spike it up. It might be worth taking the risk, putting a small stop, and be ready to manage the risk into the break even. Then yes, if you're not very good at doing it, then don't try it. Because all they need to do is break this stop and they can turn. And very often that's what they do. Right? I can go back into, 100 of those patterns and show you. They just need to break the low. They just need to come back here. Very sharp, come back right there, break that low, and then take off to the opposite direction. Right? There's a lot of those patterns I can show you. And very often you would hate me say, wait for them to break the top and then turn, or break the bottom and then turn. And that's what they do most of the time. Euro yen. Good. We're almost confirming that this thing does not look any more like an expanding flat. It looks more downside. You can see the sell setup, and I told you if you get the sell setup, take it. We don't know how far they're going to go. Take profit, right? So let's go. Watch this here. And if you get that, take the next trade, take profit. Don't keep it. There's a reason you're not going to keep this trade. It will go down long term. But every sell setup you get now, you will take profit until you get a daily correction, right? Remember this one, and we're telling you that it's going to break to the downside. Good. So it broke. What you're going to do is every one of these you get in a short term and a 60 minutes, take profit, because what will confirm that they're going to come to this level and maybe even break out is after they will make a deeper correction, because there will be a deeper correction. And when they make that deeper correction, then we will all take that trade as a long-term trade to the downside. So wait for the correction. You always don't want to buy here or buy here or buy there. You want to wait for this. And when you get this, then you can buy and keep the trade, right? So if you're going to get short-term trades, it doesn't mean you shouldn't trade it. You should trade the short-term trades. Last week I said trade them. This week I'll say the same thing, trade it. Trade it down, but trade it as short-term trades, which means you take profit out of it. And then they will make a deep correction. And when they make the deep correction, then we will all be ready for the downside. If it breaks out and make a correction and you want to buy into that, that is possible, because the buy will be, if they break out, they make a correction, you want to buy that, buy it and take profit. because it might be a little deeper correction like this before they go. So you might be, you could get another good trades again. So right now, looking for short-term sells. Europound went the back, broke the top, and I still think it will go break the top. Right? And this, remember what I was telling you, there is nothing wrong with the analysis. You're not looking for fundamental nonsense. We sold here, I closed my trade here. I think I closed it at this note. One of these two, I kept it all of this because we still think there is one more down. At this point, I realized when I saw that they're going to make one more up first and then go down. So we will look to sell that somewhere in here. We will get a sell here. So what you're going to look for here now is they're going to go up some more. And then you're going to look for the sell setup. The sell would likely break that low. So there was a big sell coming in here. But first, you're getting some upside. So let's go to 4 hour and look for the trade. Any correction you get in here, let them come back and wait for an impulse, a correction buy. If they come back slowly like this, look for that trade. I am expecting them, we're expecting them to break this top first before we start looking for sells. It might be an expanding flat. So I'm expecting, I don't think it's a running flat. So I'm expecting them to break that top before they go down. Right? So let's look at that. Patience, Sim, whoever is JS Sim, have some patience, right? We're coming to that. Somebody else wants to see the Euro Oz or the Pound Oz right now because this is an amazing trade. So take a snapshot of this. If you think fundamentals is what moved the market, take a snapshot of this. Just take a snapshot of it and keep it and see if fundamentals is going to change anything we're doing here. That's your challenge. This is how you know whether something works, right? You test it. You take a snapshot and you go wait on the news, you sit on the news and wait to see what the news is going to tell you, or see whether these structures work out. There's no other way to know whether you're right or wrong with something. You got to keep testing it and testing it, right? I don't know whether, this thing is a fluke. So far, it's working very good for me, right? It's working very good for me. But is there something better than this? Is there something in the news I'm missing? Well, so far, no, I don't see anything in the news I'm missing. I see they raise interest rates, and instead of the currency go up, the currency starts falling like crazy. And I'm asking myself, hey, what happened there? What no fundamental guy come around to answer me, right? Because they're supposed to expect it to go up, right? When you raise the interest rate, that didn't happen. So what you're going to look for is this. Look for this here. I think they're going to come down some more. If this is the fall, sell in the break of the low. They have to break the low before you sell. I'm expecting them to go back here. Remember last week you showed you this. I'm expecting them to go back, retest this stop within that pattern before the fall comes. So let's go a little deep into that pattern for those of you who are looking at it. Remember we started this here. And we were looking at this as all the correction at one time. We wanted them to go back up, test the top. That would have completed the pattern here. Instead, they came down. And that changes the structure. That means we look for one more up. So we get 1, 2, 3. At that point, we were selling. That was enough for them to go down. They did, right? And if you were selling here, you made some money or you got them for break even. And once they finished this pattern, we realized that that is not the impulse to the downside, right? So now we're looking for this one. One, I think they're going to make 2, 3, and 2 here, and then they're going to come to the top before they go, right? Pound, New Zealand. Two possible structures we detailed for you last week. One is they're consolidating here and they're going to drop. The second one is they'll spike it up to the top, break this top, and then go down. Well, it turns out it's a consolidation. And you could have seen that. Could have seen that coming. If you haven't seen that coming, there's still a chance to see it come. This is a correction of this either. So you could get a short-term trade here. You should take that short-term trade. They could go down right down if you look at that as an expanding flat. So there is a sell setup here to take and to move to break even. I mean, I'll have to show you that in the 15 minutes. Good. If we look at this as an expanding flat, take the sell, put it to break even. This sell could be the one that really goes. You're getting a sell setup here, right? I'm just showing you the 15 minutes so you can see the structure. I don't say trade it in the 15 minutes. We don't really trade in the 15 minutes. Just to show you what the structure is like. You just get it to break even and leave it. If you're wrong, you get a break even trade. Pound CAD. This is the only one we expected to break the tops on all the pound pairs because this is the only one that should go up and break that top. And I've been saying that for a long while. Wait until they break the top. If you get buys, take it. If you don't get, leave it alone until they break the top. Well, they are going to break the top. They're about to finish that move, and I can see them doing this move here and then starting the drop. This is the trade you'll be looking for. It's easy to see. I don't know why it should be complicated, right? This is like extremely easy to see. Any one of you, anyone, haven't seen a pattern like this before, 1, 2, 3, and then watch them fall on any time frame? Come on, I think there is the person in this room who can say, I've never seen that, right? You can try to deny everything, but you can't say, I haven't seen them done that. Well, I'll show you right here. I don't even have to go far. See that one impulse there? You see 1, you see 2, you see 3, you see what happens when they finish that? Done. Well, the same thing, just look at a bigger picture, an expanded picture of it. You think they're going to go down? That's the question. Do you think they're going to? I don't know. You don't have to know for sure. You just have to look at that and say, if they repeat that, that's the question. If they repeat that and I get the setup to trade, should I take the trade? That is your question every time. And if you have the confidence like me that they will repeat it, well, your trading style changes. See? So they will do it. It's a matter of time and patience and understanding of what they're doing. Bounces. Remember I told you this is going to go down? I remember when I said it's going to go down and this started to happen, a few trolls came in and they're like, oh, it's going up. It's going. What happened to your pound Swiss sells? Well, they're all in profit. Remember, I remember the guy, what happened to your pound? They're all in profit. That's what happened to them. Patience and understanding of what the chart is doing. This will break. I've shown you that pattern like 100 times and tell you it will break. This is going to come here. Can they consolidate here a while before they fall? Yeah, they can. And if they do that, I'll just add more trades to it. I'm still looking for them to come here and I'm expecting them to break. The only thing we can guarantee is that they're going to break out this time because these patterns in here can get complex. But when they come here, I'll be moving my stops in a lot of profit and then wait to see whether we get one more or if they break. I will not close the trades. I'll move my stops. And that means they will have to take me out for profit or they'll continue to fall and I'll be in the trade. I'm a little convinced they're going to go down, but that's my bias. I don't trade my bias. I wait for the setups and see if it happens, right? I'm hoping, that's my hope to put it exactly, that they just go down now, right? Let's see. We don't know. We'll see how that goes. But it's a nice trade and you can get more trades in it, right? You can still get trades. There's still trade setups that could happen. That was one. This was one. Remember, I was telling you, well, this was mostly, I think this was in my group. I was telling you, ignore those spikes. They will spike. I remember this one was spiking about, guys, it's spiking up, but look for sell setups. Well, they're spiking this one. What should you look for? Look for sell setups. See? It's going to go. And it might go very fast. And I doubt a lot of you in here will get the trades. Pang Yen coming down. But now we have to be careful of Pang Yen. And if you took the snapshots that I gave you a while back, somebody was saying you're not taking a snapshot. You should probably take it. Get off the selfie. You're not 16 and look at snapshots of the charts if you want to be a trader, right? So this is what you need to look at. We said watch it to break this low. And now it has to talk to us. It's either going to make one more up and then start to fall, or they're going to break here, correct, and then fall. And that depends on what you think this part is, right? It all depends on what you think that part is. Is it a C wave or is it the B wave? As of now, it could be a B wave. As of now, it's a B wave. But if they finish this move here, we will take this alone as the B wave. For now, we're looking at it as a very, very big B wave in the making. Right? And that might be wrong. So we just wait here. You don't have any trade here. You either wait for this correction or you wait for an impulse and a correction, and then you can buy it back to retest the top. So this week, you're probably not going to get a trade in the pound yet. If it breaks through the bottom, I don't think they're going to fall very fast. They'll make a correction before they fall. All right, let's go. Aussie yen. I think we're waiting for corrections. If you sell, you sell on short terms. Now you want to wait for some kind of a correction here, because on the bigger picture, you definitely want to see a correction before you continue to sell. You want to see a correction here, and then it's going to be sell. If they're going to reverse back to the top, which is possible, and most likely they can do that. We don't know which one they're going to do. Wait for the trade. So on the Aussie yen, the best thing to do is probably to stay out until you get one of the two setups. You're getting some move up, so wait for 1 hour impulse, 1 hour correction, and then you can start buying, right? It's too early to buy. Selling might be dangerous now because you need that bigger correction before you sell. Aussie CAD, stay out of this. We said stay out of it last week, and we're telling you to stay out of it this week. Aussie New Zealand, stay out of it. We told you there's possible they're going to do that, but then they'll spike it up. You don't want to sell. They do this every time. If you're trying to trade this, you'll probably get a lot of break-even trade. So watch this here. You're likely going to get some corrections there. Aussie Chief. They broke the low. We were expecting this to first go break the top and then come down. They broke the low, which means they still have to go break the top. Most likely it will either be an expanding flat if they break the top, or they can come back here, break this level, then retest it to complete a running flat. This pattern is not over, right? So let's go in the daily and look at it. We are going down, and we think they will continue to go down. You want to see this go up back first here and then start the downside. You want to see a complete structure in there, which I think we don't have. We don't have that complete structure for the downside, right? We're expecting it to go down, but we don't have the complete structure. So first, we'll be looking for an up move. We'll look for an up move and see how this behaves. They can break the top, or they can stop here, whichever pattern they're making. Is it a running flat or an expanding flat, and then go down? This will definitely go down because you're making a flat. The question is which one. So first, we look for buy setups short term this week. You can look for buy setups if you get it. Somewhere in the middle here, you'll have to move your stops or take profit, because it's going to be short-term trades up. I think that's a lot of pip for you to take profit. If you get a trade to this level, you can move it into profit and see what happens. New Zealand CAD, you look for this to go down. See that? You're expecting this to go down. We spoke about that. Watch it when they come back here. Remember, I was telling you they should come to this level, but they can keep going there. You're not interested in this. You're interested in the sell. And this one actually has a very, very good pattern for a sell. If they go break the top, ignore it. Look for the sell setup. This should be a nice trade back to this level. New Zealand Swiss might get a short-term trade here, a very short-term sell. That might be a short-term sell here. I'm not sure you want to take it, but you can go with it. It's probably going to go down somewhere. It's a short-term trade. New Zealand yen, start to look for buy setups. They might break that low slightly. I think they will come break this low slightly, but you start looking for them to go back to this top here. Let them get back to this area. So there will be buy setups you're looking for. Looking at a 1 hour. I wait for a bigger impulse to the upside, wait for a correction, and then buy. On the downside, if they go and you get a small correction here and you take this trade, that's one, take profit. Because anywhere here, they will stop to go back up. Breaking this low, breaking that low, and then go back up. So you're looking at an area where you should be concerned more about a buy rather than the sell. Canadian. Same here. Two things you're looking for. If this, I'm still not convinced that that is all the correction, but if that is all the correction, this thing has to correct before you go. You have to look for a correction. Or they'll go retest the top and then go down. Right? I'm not convinced this is all the correction. So I think we have more upside, which means you can start looking for upside. Go on the 4-hour. Any trade you get to the downside will be short-lived. Any of these trades you take, we were saying take profit, and the same thing we'll say now. If they actually, one second, did I lose my drawing tool? Okay, got it, sorry. What happened there? Go back to the 1 hour, sorry. Yes, wait for an impulse, wait for correction, buy. If they make a small correction, you sell, take profit, take profit, take profit, and look for the big trade up. Right? It's probably going to happen this week. That big move to the upside would likely happen this week. So what all the yen pairs are showing that this one is the same thing. This one, we were telling you they were going to go break the low, trip, and they just decided to drop, and then suddenly they fell. Remember what we were saying? This is a classical pattern. I'll show you because it's classical. All of you should know this. When we were at the top, they remember this here. I said we will come. This was the only yen pair we actually saw going down to break that low, right? The reason we saw that is because of the pattern. You have an impulse, you have a correction, you're getting an impulse, and then you'll continue to go. I think this will continue to go. This may be the clue to understanding how all the other yen pairs are going to behave. Right? This one is definitely looking upside. If I have to put the percentage and how strong I believe this is going to go up, I would go with 99% of how strong I think this one is going to go. If all the other ones are not very clear, this one is almost crystal clear, it will go up. Rarely we look at this as the end of a structure. And rarely we've seen that. So if I'm going to leave 1 or 2% that I'm wrong, but rarely I've ever seen that. This is a classical flat and it should go up, right? So let's look at the 4 hour to see how far it could go down before it goes up. So if it goes down some more, the trolls will come and say, hey, he was saying 99%. No, we're in a correction. And so that you understand that, this is the low of that impulse, which means this could still come down, down before they go. But this move has to happen to complete the pattern. Now, if you get sell setups, as long as they break that low, that is a sign that that pattern is already being formed. Not complete, but being formed. You have a full pattern. Now, where the last impulse ends is a big question. Where they're going to end the last impulse is the question. So if you get any sell, take it, take profit. Take it, take profit. Take it, take profit, because this is going to come. And if you try to keep it, if you sell here and you keep it, you will end up taking a loss. The sells are the dangerous trade now. The buy is the trade you're looking for. So if the buy comes, take it. Every buy setup you get, you should take. Every sell setup is a little risky, right? So you get this buy setup, take it, put it to break even. They start to go down back, you get a break even trade. You want to take the sell, your call. You get a buy setup, you take that trade. They go down back, you get a break even, this is your call if you want to sell it. Every sell is your call. I'm not making sell calls. I'm making buy calls. Take all the buys until it takes off. Right? Because it's going to take off. This pattern, this is the best one I've seen in terms of all the yen pair setup. Let's see. This one and the dollar yen, those two have the classical patterns that should go up. Let's see how correct we are about that. Right? Cat Swiss. We came to the low and we are kind of like tagging it here. So the question is, what is this pattern here? And the reason we are having an issue with this pattern is that on some charts, this is the low. And in some charts, this is the low. So we're hanging out to figure out how to read that pattern correctly. It will be important which of these two are the low to make a correct assumption of what the pattern should be. So the only thing we can do now is wait, because we don't have a clue which one is the low and what that pattern is doing. Right? That will change the whole structure we're looking for if we figure out which is the correct low. So now we just wait. If they make corrections here, we'll look for sell to retest the low. If they bounced it up, make a correction here, we would look to buy it back to the top. Right? You can just stay out of it for now. Stay out of it for a week or two probably until you get one of the confirmation in the 4 hour of one of those two structures. Right? A 4 hour correction up or an impulse and a 4 hour correction down to go up. because of the chart that we're getting confusing in two different trades, that will change the whole structure. Sometimes it doesn't change the structure, they have different reading, but in this one, it would change the structure. Copper. Copper is coming down. I think we will come down some more within this structure. We thought this was the one that's going to tag the top, but it looks like they're going to make a more complex structure here and then go back tag the top. So you might get a short-term sell here to the low, but this one is going to happen. See this one, when they broke out too, they didn't go, right? We thought this was enough, so when they break out, they should go. Well, they could get them back and then go. So let's see if we get that structure here. On the 1 hour, do you have a sell setup? Well, you're about to get one. They're making a correction here. So, you know, they do this, and then drop. You can take that trade. Somewhere here, you want to take profit. Somewhere on the break of this low, you want to take profit. And then look for the upside. US oil, I think more downside is there as well. A little up. This is somebody I was showing this pattern that they can go a little up here. This one could go a little up and then come down. So I think we're looking at a flat structure there right now. And they'll probably come here because we're watching at this structure, this bigger structure here. Remember? So they might come test the low. There's a good chance for a short-term sell there. Right? UK oil, same structure. Correction, you're going to go down some more. That was a sell setup. Let me take that out. That was a sell we took in our trading room there. Natural gas, good. Natural gas, you should buy it because this correction, and this one also is another one we're getting some misleading. That this broke the low, this low, and some charts are not showing the break of the low. So what you can do is if you get a buy here, take it as a short-term buy. You can see they're making a flag there, right? Then put it to the 1 hour, you'll see that. Take the buy to break out of that flag and just wait, see what happens, right? Put it to break even when it goes, see what happens. Because if they, wait for the setup, because if they just do that and start to reverse, making this a bigger structure or something, you take the break even, right? But if this low was broken, we can't say that for sure because two different charts are giving two different readings, then they will take off to the upside. And you don't want to miss that trade. S&P 500, somebody was asking for that, right? I think I even have the charts there for you. This is what I think it's going to do, right? Remember this upside we were telling you they have to come back, and somebody just quoted me saying 2 sharp waves are never a pattern, right? If you're reading, somebody is quoting me and saying, God, I hope it's not my student. I'll have to check that one. 2 sharp waves are never a pattern, which means this pattern is incomplete. You get this, you come back here, you're going to probably get that, and then we're looking for downside. This might be just a bigger corrected structure, right? So watch this. We just did US oil. This one was a little surprising. I didn't think they would come so low. I thought they'll probably just go sideways here and then go back up, but they came low. So it looks like they're still going to go back up here, make a more complex pattern in there. So if you sold that for a short-term trade, you got lucky, right? Because I didn't think they were going to drop this to that low, but they're going back up. So look for short-term buys back to the top. We're probably going to consolidate in this for a while before they go, right? S&P 500, I think they could correct back up to this area, the 2 above this top. They can correct back. So this one is not, where this one stop is the question. Where that stop, right? Because if they're going to make an expanding flat, they could bring this all the way to the bottom. But I think we're looking at 1, 2, 3, go back to the top there, complete the pattern, and then go down. Right? So somewhere in here, you start looking for a buy setup, if you know what I mean by buy setup. Right? So watch this. This one, you probably get some buy here too, go back to the top. Let's see what Nifty is doing. So if you bought Nifty back to the top, remember this buy setup at the top there, you took off the trade, they're coming down, you may get another sell here. You're getting another sell setup, you can sell this back to the low. And I don't think they're going to go down. They may still retest that top and come back. Because this is starting to look like a B wave in the middle there. But you will sell it and put that to break even. Because if this is the one that goes, they do have 3 waves already, right? So that pattern is completed. But they can make that pattern more complex. Right? But this is almost a complete pattern, right? take the sell. I will take the sell, and when it comes to the low, move your stops, right? So watch it. Let's go. Bitcoin, for those of you who trade this, it's just consolidating in a range now, and you can see that they'll probably come back here. If they come back in this range, they'll break this low, they'll come a little here, and then they can start to go. So what you're going to get is a big, long, drawn out here, up and down here, and then they're going to come back. It's going to be in a long sideways move. And they will retest this low eventually, 4,000, 3,000 maybe, before they go. But they're going to go up now, sideways and up. So I think short term, you can expect this to come back down here. Short term, you can see that pattern. I think all of you know that pattern. You've seen it many times. You've seen that many times. 1, 2, 3. You're getting a 1, 2, 3 here, and then they're going to go back up. So watch for that, right? Let's go. Ethereum, you want the short term, you're getting a sell setup. It's not a big one. You're probably going to come down here slowly, slowly, slowly. Look for the buy setup. Ignore the sell. Look for the buy. When they break this low, look for that buy. Right? The buy is not going to break this top. It's going to be a short-term trade. They'll probably come back down again. You'll make something like that. It's in a sideways move, but buy it, and if you're lucky, they break the top. I don't think you'll get that lucky. This one also, you want to look for a buy setup. See, they're going sideways here, kind of like sideways. If they break out of this sideways, take the trade. If they go down, probably ignore it. They'll just come a little more or go back up. This pattern here will have to go back up there before they come. So I think you start looking for an upside in this one. Bigger B wave, yes. Zcash, who trades this? Same thing. All of them, they're in this B wave kind of consolidation. If you can see that, they're in a kind of B wave consolidation here. And then they're going to go up. I don't think this one will break the top as well. They're probably going to go up here and then come back down. But hey, take the buy. If they break the top, your luck, right? You can just move your stops and follow it. They're in big consolidation mostly. I think that's about all the chart we cover. Some people are asking for a lot of chart. Pound, yen, Sahib, let me look at that. Let's see what is on the pound yen. Sorry, the yen, JPY, INR, Indian rupee. Let's see. We got a nice pattern there, Sahib. Daily, let's see what we have in the daily. Yeah, we can start looking for downside, by the way. See that? At this point, you will start to look for the downside because this might be one of your expanding flats. You got a nice B wave in there. You got an impulsive B wave. You got that. Somewhere here, you start looking for that downside. Right? So, nice one, Sahib gave you there, by the way. All of you should say thank you to him. A big thank you for that because this should be an amazing one. And this confirms our dollar yen upside, right? Because if the dollar yen goes up, then the yen rupee goes down. That means we're looking at a yen movement. So watch this trade. Could be an amazing trade. You just got to wait for the setup. Can this go up a little more? I think they can go, but basically they're ready to go down anytime. Right? So before you guys leave, I know some of you are in the thing again, just a reminder, we're going to do a course at the end of this month. A lot of people already signed up. There are still more space if anybody wants to sign up. Send me a Skype message. And if I can ask every one of you to help share the links of the video, the free video, the links of the free video, because there's a lot of people who lose a lot of money because they're looking at a lot of other stuff that they shouldn't be wasting time on, and they're missing the good stuff. A lot of people write me and say, you know, I found your video last week, or if I only found your video a little earlier, would have been good for me, right? I mean, a lot of you know that when you found it. So please help share the good word, right? According to the statistics, there are 9.6 million online traders. We haven't gotten a million people looking at the webinars yet. So let's get a million people looking at the webinars with your help, right? Get it to a next trader who is not looking. And let him make a choice. He can don't watch it if he wants, right? It's up to him. I think one of our traders found that stat. Well, you see, our group is amazing, right? You get a lot of information when you're in the group. Things that are not related to trading as much. But these guys are, I mean, it's amazing to be in a group like this. At least I've got a lot of people who take the course the first time and they're writing me, man, this group is amazing. The money you pay for is even worth just to be in the group. Because you meet so much people that help you with so much different stuff, right? People help you with things like where to buy stuff, where to get this, where to do that in your country or so, that has nothing to do with trading, right? Valuable information. So one of our traders went and looked at the stats and he brought it out. Important stats, how much it's divided in language, in religion, in race, in sex, and a whole lot of different things that divide the stat. And so it's a very complex one. I don't know, if the guy who posted in my room want to post it here, you can post it. If you're in here and you want to post it, right? So you can post it. It's just free information. So please help share the links. Let's get it to 9 million people. Well, half of them, I think 56% speak English. Let's get into that 56% out there and let them do whatever they want with it. So thank you for coming. All of you have a wonderful weekend if you still have time. And I'll see all of you next week. Good trading. Hope you make a lot of money too. Right? So I'll stop the live streaming.